This is a $30 gaming PC
Case.
I bought off of Amazon. I was looking for a case on Amazon for a build I was planning on doing, which is a budget build, so I can make some profit. And I set the max price to $50 and see what it comes up with. And then I now come across this PC case on Amazon, which is one of those lunchbox style cases. And that got me thinking, is it worth building a PC on that case? So I hit buy and then here it is. From what I've seen in the reviews, I see that people's acrylic side panel got scratched up. But luckily for me, only the plastic pure part of it is scratched up. So what I got here is a slightly damaged box with an Alamingo brand, which I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, which I don't think I've ever heard about that brand, but this is just what it said on the box. But once I get off the box for the PC case, nothing is really attached to it except that there's a whole bunch of screws and feet handle parts, including the power extension cord that's not installed as well. So you just gotta install it yourself, which is not a big deal for people like me. It may be a big deal for you guys, depending if you wanna do a quick build for yourself and all that stuff. So the case dimensions is 350 millimeters wide by 280 millimeters tall, but maybe under 200 millimeters depth since I don't have the equipment to actually measure it. The case is micro ATX with an ATX form factor power supply on the front. The max graphics card length is 320 millimeters, but the CPU cooler 138 millimeters, and the power supply is 150 millimeters from the top to the bottom of the case. So the case supports two 120s in the top and the bottom, no bigger or smaller in terms of size, and one 92 millimeter fan slot on the back since it is much more compact, and there's no radiator support. So if you're looking to do VIOs or whatever, this is not the case for you. If I'm being honest, with all this stuff not being installed, I don't see the extra benefit of saving the cost for shipping since it's just really barely any different. So yeah, I'm not bashing on them, I'm just trying to talk about all those stuff that they did not install by default for these cases. So in the power supply on the front, it has a power extension cord that you need to connect. Otherwise, how are you going to power on? The only way for the power supply to breathe in some air is to have the fans facing inside where the graphics card and the CPU is in. And there's no cable management, so it's gonna be a challenging time managing your cables once you get everything installed and all that stuff. Even if you have a non-modular or a fully modular power supply, it can still be a challenge. The PCIe bracket is only 1 use, which means that if you accidentally broke the wrong slot, it's game over. You can't pick it back. So on the front of the case, there's a power button, USB 3.0 Type C, and the regular 3.0 Type A port, which means no headphone jack unless you have one of those USB connectivity headphones out there. One of the good things about it is that those two ports are connected to one USB 3 header, which is awesome, especially if you don't have a motherboard that has no Type C support, which is also a benefit for budget PC builds like what I've done in this video. And if I'm being honest, I don't see much of what I can talk about with this case other than one information that I want to tell you, which is it comes in black or white, which is like $1 to maybe a couple cents between those different. Overall, this case is alright since it's a little hard to building due to the lack of space inside the case, but I was able to make the whole build work out with the parts that I put in. And the metal is kind of flimsy, like all the cheap cases out there, including the $35 PC case that I reviewed 2 years ago. And if you're asking about keyboard extensions, I would say avoid those because those are going to be a pain in the butt to actually manage cables with the extensions, unless you want to make your life harder, like I've been doing with that PC build I've just sold. Anyways, if you're looking for a tower cooler, I would definitely look for the much smaller ones that will fit in there. Other than that, just use a stock cooler or low profile cooler that was more commonly used for ITX builds. Water cooling or AIOs are not in this case because of the lack of size, like I said. And then speaking of cable management, on the top where the fan is, I had to cram like the fan cables, the ARGB cables, the power extension cord behind the fans, like with a non-visible part that's very close to the motherboard. And it's kind of tough to do that when I was trying to install the fans. So if you're going to install fans on them, that's one thing to keep in mind. But it does take some patience when it comes to tucking everything behind and all that stuff. So the parts that I picked up for this build was a Ryzen 5 2600 Machine Speed 450 motherboard, 16 gigabytes of one of those green stick memories that I put from a pre-build, which is not the same brand, honestly. AMD with Prism, which is one of those AMD's ARGB coolers for the more beefier Ryzen 7 chips out there. Not the AM5 models, but the AM4 Ryzen 7 chip. It has 512 gigabytes of SSD, 500 watt EVGA power supply, plus the AliExpress Prism 4 ARGB fan, which 2 of them is exhaust, 1 is intake. Since I don't have an extra intake fan, I can add. That matches the same thing. And let's see how the performance go. Now, who is this case is for? If I'm being completely honest, if you're looking to build a PC that's in a really budget case, just to take it for a LAN party or travel around the world, this case may be it, as long as you are patient for your cable management, and it's a little hard to build in, like I said, with the lack of space. And then if you want to fill up the back of the case, then I would get like one of those 92mm fans from Amazon. And I believe Thermalright has ARGB fans with that size. I wouldn't say it's a beginner-friendly case. I'm thinking that this case is mainly aimed toward people who have experience with PC. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on the notifications. Like the video if you enjoyed it so far. And I do have the Discord server in the link below. So if you want to talk to me or you have any questions about this case, or any of the videos that I uploaded, feel free to join. It's completely free.